Hey everybody, another beautiful Monday afternoon, and it was not a beautiful performance on Sunday, that's for sure. As a Lions fan, I was ashamed with the way we played. Nothing went right, absolutely nothing. The defense was terrible, offensive line was terrible, Stafford was terrible. The only guy that really showed up for the game was Golden Tate and Agnew with that punt return. So I just stated the obvious right there. You all know it was a terrible performance, and I think it's the second worst performance in the Jim Caldwell era outside of the loss to the Chiefs in London a few years ago. So where that leads us right now, it sure makes me a lot less confident as a fan, and I don't know how you feel if you're a player, because this is a Saints team that you've had the upper hand against. They beat them last year, they beat them in 2015, both of those games on the road, beat them in 2014. But all of a sudden in this game, Drew Brees decides to throw the ball all over your defense, and Mark Ingram runs all over the field. And somehow against this poor secondary, the only receiver that can do a damn thing is Golden Tate. So it was a frustrating performance for sure. And then our offensive line can't block worth a darn. I think that position's a real concern, and Taylor Decker, we need you back more than ever. I made a video about Greg Robinson last July, I think it was, stating that he was going to be perhaps one of the best free agent moves the Lions have made. It could either be a big hit or a big miss. Based on the stats and what I've seen with my eyes, it's been a heck of a miss. He's been one of the worst offensive tackles in the league. Matt Stafford's been sacked, like 16 times the last 3 games. That's unacceptable. Considering how much money we spent for TJ Lang, who sat out, for Ricky Wagner, who hasn't been playing that great either, and $3.3 million on Greg Robinson, which isn't an awful lot, and I'm not mad at us for making the move, but right now I think it's time to sit him. I think we found out that he's not what he was meant to be when he came into this league. All those athletic skills, everything is just getting blown away with his inability to move his feet and protect the passer, his inability to not commit penalties, and it's hurting the team. It really is. I mean, there's no reason your quarterback should be sacked in the end zone. Every time he went back to throw the football, it felt like he was getting pressured. There were times I saw our tackles getting pushed in to the quarterback. You can't win doing that. That's unacceptable. So those are things that they need to fix. But I don't know how do you fix those? Coaching? You can't fix that in a week. I'm really worried about TJ Watt. I know what we can fix. Maybe bringing Taylor Decker back. So now we have to rush him back because nobody else on this team can do anything. Put it simply, they should have won. They should have won last Sunday, and they didn't do it. I'd say the offensive line is probably the most glaring issue. I know Stafford made some mistakes with turning the football over. Part of that was because he was running for his life, and he took a little bit too long. That's another problem, our receivers. Stafford's taking too long because his receivers aren't getting open. It's the same problem Michigan has with John O'Corn. No receivers. Now, Golden Tate had a good game, but he can't do everything by himself. Marvin Jones needs to step up. He's not very good against press coverage, and I think teams are starting to expose that. We need Kenny Galladay back. We need that big play threat down the field that we've been missing the last few weeks, ever since that week 1 against Arizona. So this is a good time to have a bye week. Right now we're as injured as we've ever been. Glover Quinn's hurt. Golden Tate, as I mentioned, had a good game. He got hurt. Matt Stafford, we don't know how healthy he is. Taylor Decker's still hurt. I don't know, and Kenny Galladay. I don't know how good any of these look for 2 weeks, but there's a chance we could get some guys back. I don't know how good Taylor Decker will be if they decide to play him, which they very well could, just because of how bad our O-line is. It's getting to the point now where you're going to have to put him in, or else Stafford, your $27 million quarterback, is going to continue to be running for his life. Heck, they've talked about putting Darren Fells at that position. You know what? I bet Darren Fells could do a better job than what Greg Robinson has done thus far. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the strength of this team is supposed to be the offense. The offensive line we spent a lot of money on, and we have a lot of money on a quarterback that has nowhere to go with the football. I don't think the running game has been half bad. It's still not dominant. It's still spotty. Like, Abdullah had a couple nice runs, but he hasn't been anything spectacular. Yeah, so it'd be nice to just get that extra dimension on offense. So I think that's the biggest problem. That doesn't mean there's not other problems. Defensively, our defensive line, where have you been the past 2 weeks? I saw Mark Ingram stretching the ball outside many times, breaking tackles, and to hear Whitehead and Gerard Davis, now that they're both healthy, all of a sudden they're missing tackles. I think last week was one of the worst games I saw Gerard Davis play. He missed tackles, and look, he's young, I know. We still got time for him to develop, but it's just disappointing that we can't do any better on defense when we're at full strength. And now we're not. Now Glover Quinn is injured, one of the best safeties in the league thus far in the season, according to PFF. That's a problem. And Gerard Davis, still got to keep him healthy. I get it. The defensive line scored a touchdown. A'Shawn Robinson, yeah, that was nice. A'Shawn's played well this year. And everyone else has played well too, but just these past 2 weeks, no pressure on the quarterback whatsoever. And we can't seem to stop the running game. We did a horrible job yesterday. We all knew we had depth issues at the defensive line, and it's resulting in the death of our eliteness on that side of the ball. Anthony Zettel has kind of been... have you guys found him? I haven't seen him the last couple weeks. But he's played well this season. I like him. I like all these guys. But maybe a week off, some extra coaching would be good for these guys. Otherwise, it was a good job almost coming back from what was a big deficit. It's just, I'm tired of this team not getting off to good starts, and you just wonder why that is. Once again, they're too predictable on first down, not getting yardage. That resulted in Stafford having to throw it in the end zone on the first possession, getting sacked, and the fumble getting recovered for a touchdown, which after that all hell broke loose. We're not calling a great games right now, Jim Bob Cooter. I think he's got a good offense in place, but right now we're not utilizing our talent. Maybe we just need that extra receiver to come back so that Stafford doesn't have to take forever to throw the football. Maybe we need Taylor Decker to come back. I don't know. So going into this bye week, it's all about, as Jim Caldwell mentioned, getting healthy and figuring out what's going on. Why has this defensive line not been able to create pressure? Maybe you need to change up the schemes a little bit, make some adjustments. In terms of how I feel about the rest of this season, there's still very winnable games on the schedule, and the Minnesota Vikings handed you a gift by injuring Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is everything to that Packers team, and he's been your Achilles heel. Guess what? Now he's gone. You already have a win over the Vikings, so you could easily get the tiebreaker over them by just beating them at your home stadium. And they don't have Dalvin Cook. So there's really no excuse not to win the division, even though we might not have the greatest record. The first 2 games we played were not the most difficult, but other than that, the last few games we faced some pretty tough opponents. Even the Saints, who I think we should have beat, they've been playing well. They beat the Dolphins. They shut out the Dolphins, scored some points. The defense has improved dramatically ever since that Week 1 shellacking against the Vikings. So after this bye week, we have the Steelers. I don't know how to feel about Le'Veon Bell, and I don't think we're going to be able to protect the passer against James Harrison and T.J. Watt. Ugh, that's gonna be tough. I don't see us winning that game. I hope we do, but I don't see us winning that game for those reasons. Otherwise, we could win in the rest of our division games, and that could be just enough to get us into the playoffs. Right now, we have the best quarterback in the division of everyone playing right now. So there really is no excuse not to make the playoffs this season with your $27 million quarterback. But you got some stuff you got to fix. And you come out of games like you did last time, you're going to finish 3-13. Maybe 4-12 if you're lucky. Alright, thanks guys for listening. I know it wasn't the most uplifting video, but who is uplifted after something like that? Thanks guys. Alright, go Lions.